Christians, this person here makes the comment that God isn't real, by the way. This comment is suitable to the person who has the proper emoji as a reflection of themselves. Because a person like this, what this emoji characterizes, would say something like this: that God isn't real, and then he or she adds, by the way, as if this was common knowledge. God is not real, by the way. Why? Because you say so? I have a Bible that says that he is real. I have evidence everywhere that God is real. Now, just because you and many people like you don't want to accept that fact, that's up to you. But God is real, and his very creation, as he says, is evidence of that. I'll give you further evidence of that. Sin that is in the world. Sin that is a direct violation of God's holy law, the law that only he gave. No one else gave, no man gave us that law. God gave Moses the law. And violators of that law, transgressors of that law, are sinners. And sinners are those who violate God's law. So when you say God isn't real, then you also have to say that the law of God isn't real. And if the law of God isn't real, then you have to say that sin isn't real. If sin isn't real, then there was no Adam and Eve. And if there was no Adam and Eve, then there was no promise of a coming seed who would redeem the world from their sin, the Lord Jesus Christ. So if there's no Adam and Eve and no sin, then there was no Jesus Christ. If there was no Jesus Christ, there was no death on the cross that efficaciously provided an exemption from the penalty of sin in lieu of reconciliation to God the Father. All of this is not true. If Jesus is not real, then the Father is not real, because Jesus is his son. The Father can only be a father if he has a son. Now, if all these things aren't real, then that means that heaven and hell aren't real. That means that there are no consequences for our sin that apparently also is not real. And if that is also true, then that means men have nothing to be guilty of regardless of whatever they do. Men can do whatever they want. To children, to their parents, to their co-workers, to their friends, to their neighbors, they can do whatever they want. Nothing is off limits. It is all good because all these other things aren't true. And when you say that God is not real, which only a fool can say, then that means that everything that flows from that which is credited to God as having the authority over, from the standpoint of his sovereignty, his omniscience, his omnipotence, all these attributes, then everything is a go. Men can do whatever they want. Guilt is a figment. So